The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
Hey everybody, you are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 30th, 2019, episode 162, and this week, Internet of Brains and Papal PR. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about the other news with Canary Cry views.
Razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle Basil.
That's for those who don't know, that's my race car driver name. Basil Razzle Dazzle Rosewater coming around the first turn, and he's in the grass. This week, Gonz, I want to start out. I have not put the foam up in the new studio yet, but I found that if I get really close to the microphone, I can get rid of some of the room echo. Is it helping? Oh, okay.
Getting used to the soundboard a little late on the response. I was waiting for you to finish off what you're saying there, but there goes Razzle Dazzle into the wall.
Thank you. Into the wall. There he goes once again. And so as everybody knows, I think we spent enough time trying to explain our predicament last week, but we both have had major upheaval in our respective podcasting studios, but things are coming together fine. But we're still working through a couple of the speed bumps. See what I did there? I'm a race car driver now.
Yeah, that's all of our references are going to be.
Just a recent obsession with racing cars. I will say that this comes from... It comes from somewhere. I have a buddy who's starting to race cars, so I got race cars on the brain.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, but let's jump into the show, Gonz. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, time for a Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different, and since every show is somebody's first show, I just want to remind everybody that Flippy is our wonderful colloquial name for the robots who are taking all of our jobs. And this week, this is from interestingengineering.com, although it's a story that kind of made the rounds. And the headline is, "There was a robot on the raid to kill ISIS leader, claims Trump." And that claims Trump at the end has a certain attitude to it. Okay, the article reads, "On Sunday, United States President Donald Trump revealed this during a live news conference. The leader of the terrorist group ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, was killed in a 2-hour raid, and that there was a robot involved in the incident." Ooh. A military robot. Among many details that the president gave on the mission, perhaps the most interesting was that there was a military robot along for the ride. Trump mentioned this robot several times during his live briefing. And Gonz, are you ready to do your Trump impression, or are we just?
I don't think I'm going to get through it if I try.
Okay.
And people are going to be annoyed.
People love it.
I don't know if people love it.
Impression. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go past it then. Quote, "We actually had a robot to go in the tunnel, but we didn't get it because we were tracking al-Baghdadi very closely," he said. "But we had a robot just in case because we were afraid he had a suicide vest on, and if you get close to him and he blows it up, you're going to die. He had a very powerful suicide vest."
Yes,
it was a very powerful suicide
very
vest.
Powerful.
Not one of these
suicide
vests. A journalist even asked Trump if the robot had followed the ISIS leader in the tunnel where he eventually killed himself, to which the president replied, "The robot was set to, but we didn't hook it up because they were moving too fast. We were moving too fast."
What does that mean? What does it mean you didn't hook it up?
Too fast. We're moving too fast. We can't.
But okay, wait, stop. What do you mean you didn't hook up the robot?
He's just the president, okay? He's not a
What are you
robot.
talking about?
He's not a robot engineer.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm going to let it go.
The only problem is that so far no one else involved in the raid has confirmed this story. Even Trump's official written statement makes no mention of the robot. A drone? So, was there really a robot? It is hard to tell. Some have speculated that it may have been a drone and that the president was simply confused. Meanwhile, U.S. officials reported blah, 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 shared a tweet about... anyway, they're turning this whole thing into like, they're just looking for something for Trump to be wrong about.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to assume that, yeah, they had some sort of robot on the mission.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially if there's
really
somebody
normal.
with a suicide vest, that makes sense to actually send in one of the robot
the military
DARPA dogs
uses
or whatever.
Robots all the time.
Yeah.
Now, whether it was a drone, quite possibly could have been a drone, or a Boston Dynamics little doggy robot.
Or all the above.
Yeah, right. I
Just a
think
swarm of robot machines, coming up on a complex and checking it out before any humans have to get down there and do whatever they need to do. So that makes sense.
The purpose of me bringing this up was, guys, of course there were robots involved. The military's been using robots for missions like this for at least a decade and probably more. Yeah. And with all of the exclusive military contracts held by Boston Dynamics and other robot building heavyweights, of course there was a robot on this mission. There was also the thing about the dog. I mean, the dog meme is going around, so good on that dog. Maybe the dog was the robot.
Like a cyborg dog?
Have you seen this dog? Have you spent a millisecond on Facebook in the past week?
No. Oh, no, I have spent a millisecond, but it wasn't long enough to come in contact with whatever you're talking about.
We have a new hero dog who's involved in the raid.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So if the dog was the robot, who knows? But
a ROG dog robot.
Yeah, rope dog. Yeah. Anyways, I forgot where I was going with this, but there you go.
I think the point is that, of course, they have machines and robots and stuff doing operations in military.
Yeah, it's a step towards we're talking about robots taking our jobs. Watch out, SEAL Team 6. You're the first to go.
Yeah, and if you want to go in there,
just retire.
If you want to go in there and get your hands dirty, then you have to merge with the machine. See how they entice the soldiers?
They probably are already some sort of.
I'm convinced that there is a whole class of certain stratified whatever.
Gons, I got one more update for you.
Yeah.
A quick one. Just going to mention this is all over the place, but this is from nydailynews.com. Headline: Jeffrey Epstein suicide twist. Forensic pathologist hired by family says he may have been murdered. Yeah, that's right. So
is that our new duh jingle?
That's our new duh jingle. That's just sort of, we're not going to spend any time on this because duh.
Yeah.
But the mainstream is finally getting the word out that Epstein didn't kill himself. There's been a hurricane of Epstein didn't kill himself memes, which I so proudly went through on the Canary Cry Conversations that is out or coming out. So I don't know. This is getting a lot of attention. But that's it. Just the duh.
That's it. Duh.
Yep. That's it. Just duh.
All right.
Saving time.
Space Pope reptilian.
Sorry, saving what?
Time.
And
lives.
And lives. Yeah. Excellent. NPR.org, because we like reliable sources like NPR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pope Francis decrees name change for Vatican's secret archive. It will change names and places and seasons. Pope Francis is hoping to give the Vatican's secret archive an image makeover by changing the name of the ancient collection to something less mysterious. Francis declared that the collection, which dates back centuries and contains millions of documents, will now be known as the Vatican Apostolic Archive. Yeah.
Okay.
The new name is a better reflection of the archive's, quote, service to the church and the world of culture, the pontiff said. Francis lamented that the Latin name Archivium Secretum, originally meant to convey that the archive was private, had come to connote something more sinister.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Quote, the word secretum having lost its true meaning and instinctively being associated with the modern concept of the word secret. I mean, it is, isn't it? Assume the prejudicial acceptance of being hidden, not revealed, and reserved for a few, he wrote, according to the Associated Press. Quote, that is completely contrary to what the Vatican's secret archives always was and intended to be, Francis said. The archives are located inside the Apostolic Palace and document the church from the 8th century to the present in some 600 collections organized across 50 miles of shelving, according to the AP.
Holy
Scholars,
smokes.
yeah, that's a lot of documents. Scholars have long had access to the secret archives for pontificates up to 1939 when Pius VII became Pope.
That's Pius the 12th.
Is it the 12th? Oh, yeah.
Roman
12th.
numerals are hard.
Sorry. Yeah, 12th. Sorry. You're right. Yep. Some historians have argued that during World War II, Pius XII maintained uncritical relations with Nazi Germany in order to preserve the church. In particular, Pius is accused of failing to use the Vatican's moral authority to protect Jews during the Holocaust. And it goes on here, but
It goes into this really weird ditch at the end, talking about the Holocaust.
they always have to work that in. It's NPR, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
But that's interesting. Yeah, they're changing
Little
the
PR
name.
move.
Little
Yeah.
PR move.
I don't know. I kind of like the mysterious, I mean, of course, the mysterious naming of different wings of the Catholic Church is sort of, fuel for the fire when it comes to the conspiracies.
Well, yeah, the fact that they're changing the name itself is really
Even more.
the thing. Like we want to get away from the mysterious angle by changing the name. The most mysterious thing we can do. Like, come on.
Well, apparently, if it's not so secret, I wonder what it takes to get in there. Take a look.
Well, that's the thing is that there's probably like a public wing, you know, and then you never know what else they have. They're not telling us everything.
I don't know. Sounds like an assumption. I wonder if we have to be some sort of like historical scholar. Or
No,
something
I just watched that movie, that really popular movie, the Da Vinci Code. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so
doesn't he
you're
go in there and
filled with facts and figures.
Facts, hidden documents.
Yeah. Well, this kind of continues the PR campaign of Pope Francis. Lots of P's here, sorry. Because he's also come out in support. Now, I will admit I've only seen headlines for this. I've not read fully any articles, but I've seen headlines talking about Pope Francis coming out in support of Kanye West's Jesus is King type of thing, which is stirring up all sorts of other pots.
Oh, yep. It's all getting mixed up. All the pots.
What is?
The pots are getting mixed up.
The pots are getting stirred. So yeah, this is interesting. Apostolic. What is
Definition?
No, well, what does it bring to your mind when you hear the new name versus the old name? What is the new name? The Vatican Apostolic Library
Archives.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of like okay. Maybe this is just a biased opinion, but it's certainly my first thought was like a self-prescribed or self-directed kind of level of specialness. That's the word. That's kind of the vibe I get. I don't know.
The Pope claiming to be special, Gons? What are you talking about? Heresy, I say.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I wonder what the Latin name for it is. The Archivium Secretum sounds like a Harry Potter. Sounds like a room in Hogwarts. But I wonder what the apostolic.
Yeah, it probably sounds like some
Apostolio.
Harry Potter spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You ready? Are you ready to become cyborg, Guns?
Are you ready to become cyborg?
That's right. We're
No.
coming from
I'm
straight
not.
from Scientific American. Headline reads, scientists demonstrate direct brain-to-brain communication in humans. Work on an, quote, Internet of Brains takes another step. We humans have evolved a rich repertoire of communication, from gestures to sophisticated languages. All of these forms of communications link otherwise separate individuals in such a way that they can share and express their singular experiences and work together collaboratively. In a new study, technology replaces language as a means of communicating by directly linking the activity of human brains. Electrical activity from the brains of a pair of human subjects was transmitted to the brain of a third individual in the form of magnetic signals, which conveyed an instruction to perform a task in a particular manner. This study opens doors to extraordinary new means of human collaboration, while at the same time blurring fundamental notions about individual identity and autonomy in disconcerting ways.
Hive mind.
Hive mind, that's right. I think I'm just gonna go straight through this article for a while. It's pretty long, but we'll just stop.
All right, razzle dazzle bazzle.
Here we go. Razzle dazzle. Direct brain-to-brain communication has been a subject of intense interest for many years, driven by motives as diverse as futurist enthusiasm and military exigency. In his book, Beyond Boundaries, one of the leaders in the field, Miguel Nicolesis, described the merging of human brain activity as the future of humanity. The next stage in our species is evolution. Nicolesis serves on Scientific American's board of advisors. He has already conducted a study in which he linked together the brains of several rats using complex implanted electrodes known as brain-to-brain interfaces. Nicolesis and his co-authors described his achievement as the first, quote, organic computer, with living brains tethered together as if they were so many microprocessors. The animals in this network learned to synchronize the electrical activity of their nerve cells to the same extent as those in a single brain. The networked brains were tested for things such as their ability to discriminate between two different patterns of electrical stimuli, and they routinely outperformed individual animals. So I think we reported on this long ago when this
the rat project.
The rat project, yes, combining a bunch of rat brains to make one mega rat brain. But let's keep going. If networked rat brains are smarter than a single animal, imagine the capabilities of a biological supercomputer of networked human brains. No. Such a network could enable people to work across language barriers. It could provide those whose ability to communicate is impaired with a new means of doing so. Moreover, if the rat study is correct, networking human brains might enhance performance. Could such a network be a faster, more efficient, and smarter way of working together? So, such a beautiful vision of the future, Gons.
You know what it sounds like to me?
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
That's right. The new paper addressed some of these questions by linking together the brain activity of a small network of humans. 3 individuals sitting in separate rooms collaborated to correctly orient a block so that it could fill a gap between other blocks in a video game. 2 individuals who acted as senders could see the gap and knew whether the block needed to be rotated to fit. The 3rd individual, who served as the receiver, was blinded to the correct answer and needed to rely on the instructions sent by the senders. The 2 senders were equipped with electroencephalographs that recorded their brain's electrical activity. Senders were able to see the orientation of the block and decide whether to signal the receiver to rotate it. They focused on a light flashing at a high frequency to convey the instruction to rotate, or to focus on one flashing at a low frequency to signal not to do so. That was a little confusing, but we'll move on. The differences in the flashing frequencies caused disparate brain responses to the senders, which were captured by the EEG and sent via computer interface to the receiver. A magnetic pulse was delivered to the receiver using a transcranial magnetic stimulation device. If a sender signaled to rotate, the magnetic pulse caused a flash of light in the receiver's visual field as a cue to turn the block. The absence of a signal within a discrete period of time was the instruction not to turn the block. After gathering instructions from both senders, the receiver decided whether to rotate the block like the senders, blah, 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 blah. So you get it. They were communicating via brains, Gons. So this is something that you have done quite a bit of work on, talking about hive minds and things like that.
Yeah, well, every time I see stories like this, it just brings me right back to Genesis 11, because that's basically where the Tower of Babel was taking place, and having that one singular language and having that ability with humans coming together and building this tower that reaches the heaven, becoming something that God says is nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Anything you can imagine basically can be done, which is a pretty bold statement by God there. Like the reason why he scattered the languages, And so we're basically going back to that place of like having one language and piercing through some kind of veil. I mean, we're talking about the mind linking together in this electromagnetic or electric sort of, I don't know, grid. Mm-hmm. And then, all the different things we've talked about with the transhumanism and everything related to that manifests itself. But yeah, I mean, this is creepy that we're going in this direction, but this is just an EEG thing, right? Like a helmet type of deal. It's not like anything
transcranial. Yeah.
Transcranial.
So the rats had implanted electrodes. This
right.
was more of like a helmet situation. Now, this was very interesting. It was called BrainNet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then not to be confused with a different project called BrainNet.
BrainNet.
There's BrainNet.
More finesse.
And there's BrainNet. And BrainNet was done with primates. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting down here as well. Brain-to-brain interfaces also span across species, with humans using non-invasive methods similar to those in BrainNet study to control cockroaches or rats that had surgically implanted brain interfaces.
Gosh.
In one report, a human using a non-invasive brain interface linked via computer to the BCI, that's the
I thought you were going to say the beast. They connected to the beast.
Connected to the BCI, that's a brain-computer interface,
right,
of an anesthetized rat was able to move the animal's tails while... tail. Yeah, so an anesthetized rat, you could just control it like a robot. While in another study, a human controlled a rat as as a freely moving cyborg.
Oh my gosh.
Straight up Avatar, like jacked into the rat's brain and was able to control him. The investigators in the new paper point out that it is the first report in which the brains of multiple humans have been linked in a completely non-invasive manner. They claim that the number of individuals whose brains could be networked is essentially unlimited. Yet the information being conveyed is currently very simple, a yes-no binary instruction. Other than being very complex way to play a Tetris-like video... Other than being a very complex way to play a Tetris-like video game, where could these efforts lead? This is interesting because we're talking about transcranial situation here, which is basically just a helmet.
Yeah.
And linking as many... They say it's unlimited how many of these people you could link together. And it immediately brought up visions of VR helmets. So if you have a network of people, I mean, there's already online gaming where you're playing with 100 other people or something, wearing the VR helmet. If they build in the transcranial receivers and senders, transmitters into the helmet that you're already wearing, you could link 100 people with all playing the same game or trying to accomplish the same thing and turn it into a big human brain-to-brain network, which is we're taking steps closer, Gons, one step closer to the empathy box from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah, or the Neura, what is it? I can't remember what it's called now because Elon Musk made a thing that sounds exactly like it from Sword Art Online. Let's call it
Neuralink.
is it Neuralink? And Elon Musk's thing is Neural Lace, right? I think.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all like sci-fi is real now type of situation.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep. It's definitely
It's gotta be biblical.
Psychology
Yeah,
Today. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Psychology Today, new AI brain-computer interface for healthcare launched. You know how we keep track of some companies, and there's the list of AI with the brain stuff combined. It's growing. So this is
give us the rundown here.
okay. So in October 2019, pioneering neurotech startup Cognition, spelled with an Xion at the end, launched a turnkey, non-invasive AI brain-computer interface solution for healthcare that enables the speech-impaired to non-invasively communicate their thoughts. It was a traumatic personal experience with his mother that triggered this guy to make it, and goes through the whole story. I'm not going to go through that part of it. But it says here, by 2022, the BCI market will increase to $1.72 billion globally, according to the report published last year by Grandview Research on the U.S. market-based research company. And here's the part that I wanted to get into. It says here, quote, at every breakthrough in human-machine interaction, from keyboard to mouse to multi-touch to speech. Sorry, I'm having background noise here. The machine has gotten better at adapting to humans, allowing them to use native biological capacities to engage with the virtual world, says Tom Gruber, co-founder of Siri Inc., the virtual personal assistant that was later acquired by Apple. Quote, the next breakthroughs will be in multimodal immersive interactions, using eyes, ears, and hands together as in virtual reality, and adding the ultimate modality of direct interaction with the brain. Cognition is at the forefront of these new modalities with technology that allows people... Sorry for that, guys.
Somebody getting the dad glare over there.
Yeah, dad glare happening through the wall. With technology that allows people to speak and interact with computers using only their eyes and brains. And
wow.
yeah, and so it says here, this is, you mentioned the EEG in the last article, and that's kind of what they're doing here. The proprietary algorithm was trained on EEG data using supervised learning with an evolution regeneration methodology. From a neuroscience standpoint, cognition machine learning training includes data focused on the occipital lobes in conjunctions with visual evoked potential. It sounds so complex. VEP. The light evoked electrical signal that is recorded at the scalp over the occipital cortex. According to Forsland, each customer has their own instance of an AI algorithm that is customized to his or her specific needs. So it's crazy. So your brain signals actually write the AI.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. That's insane.
Well, taking more steps.
Yep. And they say that machine learning is a game-changing tipping point for biosignal recognition. And where was the list of companies that I had? I thought I had a list of some more of these groups here. Oh, here we go. So we have Cognition. We mentioned Kernel. There is a company called Neuralink. But I don't know if that's... It says Neuralink is the one that Elon Musk came up with, but I thought it was Neuralace. Yeah. Anyway... Other companies.
Neuralace is the product.
Okay. Paradromics, Halo Neuroscience, Neurable, MindMaze, Q30 Innovations, BIOS, NeuroPace, Neuroski. I like that one.
I'm sensing a theme.
Cerive, Melton MMI, Dream, spelled with 2 E's, 4D Force, GmbH, that one's confusing, BrainCo Inc., Neuros Medical, NextMind, Emotive, Neurolutions, Synchron, Flow Neuroscience, BitBrain Technologies, Neuroscouting, Think with THYNC, Intrazon Inc., and Brain Robotics, to name a few. So there's more than a few of these companies out there.
That's a lot of new companies. Okay.
Yeah, so we should keep an eye on some of those.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Gons, I'm going to
Yes.
land this plane. Sounds like you have a parade going on over there.
It is a parade, yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. There you go. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Here's the thing. If you got friends or family that you love so much, but they are not yet listening to this show, they're getting their news from the mainstream still, grab them by the cage and shake it.
That was good, Slim Jim.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Canaries in a cage.
That's right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Here's the thing. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/CCNT, where we do another episode of CCNT every single week. It's our Canary Cry News Talk extended reports. So if you just think you haven't gotten enough, this week we're going to be talking about some blockchain in China. We're going to be talking about a stoning ritual that Gons has found, and also some Japanese emperor rituals going on. Ritualistic, spooky ritualistic extended report. So if you're interested in supporting the show, we are entirely listener supported. So far, about 1% of you. So if you want to join the crowd and get another episode of Canary Cry News Talk, keep this show going, head over to patreon.com/CCNT. And one more time, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, everybody. Make sure to tune in next time. But until you do, think outside the cage. Razzle dazzle.